Hello and welcome to another Coffee and Heroes podcast. It's time for our monthly preview show. We're trying something a little bit different for this one as well as this beautiful audio you're listening to through the podcast. You can actually check us out on YouTube. You can now match a beautiful face to the dulcet tones of Mr. Keith Miller.
Yeah, so you say. So you say. It's the light outside, it's the start of the summer, and that always makes everybody look great.
Yeah, well, I just think it's comics are obviously such a visual medium. I've had a YouTube channel for a while. People can sometimes be creatures of habit. They just want to watch stuff on YouTube. I've tried directing people towards the podcast in store, and they're just like, "What's a podcast?" Or, "Oh, I only get to listen to that," as if like seeing these beautiful faces is so important to them. But
Makes no
yeah, with it,
sense. Makes no sense to me at all. It's
well, again, you'll maybe see an evolution in this over the next 6 months, guys. Obviously, I'm expecting a second son who's due in September. So maybe my trips to Keith's wonderful house will be a little more limited, but we want to keep the podcast going. So that's another reason for the slightly newer format. We can record at the drop of a hat. We can, keep the content up, but also again give you that visual aspect to it as well. But we'll probably play around with it a little bit. It might be a little bit basic at the start, but we'll certainly add to it as we go. But if you're listening to this through the podcast, this all means nothing to you right now because again, you're a creature of habit and you prefer the podcast. But yeah, we're going to be doing the previews books. We've got them in front of us, of course. You've got your DC book, you've got your Marvel book, you've got your main previews book as well. It is getting harder and harder through comics at the moment because now Image are no longer in the previews book and their book hasn't been released yet. So we find no solicitations online, which is something for it as well. But we do everything we can to connect all the dots for you guys so that you can know what we're certainly looking forward to and the stuff not to miss out on. I mean, looking at the books this month, we always do a wee bit of an intro. I mean, the DC book, I gotta say, I mean, even as a staunch DC guy, it's a very, very quiet month. But I think part of that is just that obviously DC relaunched the line with All In. They launched the Absolute books. You're always going to reach this point in comics where you can't just keep releasing number ones and releasing number ones and releasing number ones. And sometimes books are just in the middle of storylines, so you can't actually, just have starting points. So you will get the odd month like this. There's one or two things of interest in there. There is some good DC compacts and DC finest range, which we'll certainly get onto as well. So there's a few bits and pieces to look at, but yeah, an insanely quiet month for DC, I have to say. But by contrast, the Marvel book looks
Yeah,
pretty
the
sweet.
Marvel book. The Marvel book is a much thicker puppy. The stars of the show, I think, this month are probably Fantastic Four with the upcoming movie release impending. Captain America has got a relaunch, so he's high in the agenda, and Godzilla just seems to be everywhere at the minute. Marvel,
70th
DC,
anniversary.
Indies. That's what
Yeah,
exactly what it is then.
they're
Um,
everywhere.
the X corner has trimmed down a little bit as a few titles have come to an end or been cancelled. We're seeing a bit of a shift in Immortal Thor. One World Under Doom continues, but not with the core series this month. That's been delayed, and there's some cool stuff happening in the omnis and the hardcovers.
I mean, you mentioned all this, Keith, and I see our notes in advance, and yet you haven't mentioned the Marvel swimsuit special. I mean, come on, the amount of people in our store that are going to be interested in this, and let's be honest, you know who you are, and you don't even mention it. What's going on? First time it's back in 30 years, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just didn't grab me, I have to say. I'm
Yeah, it
trying
can be
to.
frustrating when you try to push the agenda of comics being a serious, artistic format to tell great stories, and then stuff like that comes out, or Harley Quinn scratch and sniff comics. These things don't help sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They don't help themselves. But I mean, I suppose the Marvel swimsuit special is a venerable book. It used to be a fairly regular thing in the late 80s and 90s. But I've been trying to trim my pull list of late, and that's not getting on it.
I know, Keith, absolute Wonder Woman. We need to have a discussion. But away from DC and Marvel, you've got the indie book, as I say. I mean, the image solicitations we found online are bleeding cool. They do normally release their own book as well, but sometimes it comes a week after the traditional previews. But certainly when it comes to the indie side of things, Image have a couple of really cool things coming this month. We have a new criminal book coming from the, absolutely all-star team of Brubaker Phillips, who, of course, we're such huge fans of. You've got Deluxe coming for a maybe less appreciated Robert Kirkman book as well. You've got a few new series starting with new number ones. Away from Image, IDW, there is a sequel coming to one of my favorite comics of the last couple of years, a serial killer book, which is just absolutely fantastic. There's, of course, some Star Trek stuff. Keith being a resident Star Trek fan and expert, it's not too surprising that that's been flagged up. Mark Miller is continuing with his books at Dark Horse, with a new book kicking off as well. So there's plenty to sort of keep us going this month, certainly, on top of all the already great ongoing books that there are. But we'll kick things off with DC simply because this is not going to take long. I mean, when your cover here is Gotham City Sirens, that is almost the only new series in this entire book. And to be honest, it's not for me, but there are plenty of guys in store who I think will probably be up for it. It's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. It's released weekly. Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn join forces for another weekly extravaganza. So it's written by Leah Williams and art by Haining as well. There is a rather nice connecting cover there as well. Men may be from Mars, but baddies are from Venus. So again, there's a very select audience that will attract in the store, and I'm sure they'll be up for that. Away from that, as I say, the DC book, it really showcases a lot of stuff this month that are just ongoing or in the middle of stories. Part 5 of Hush 2 is this month. I've been really enjoying Hush. I don't know about yourself. Obviously, we'll probably chat about it more in a reviews pod, I would say.
Yeah. It looks good. It looks good. Not peak Jim Lee, by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. All the Absolute books are, of course, continuing. Absolute Batman's in the middle of an arc involving Bane. You've got Absolute Superman with the Omega Man. You've got the new books that have all launched are all in the middle of arcs. So Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, etc. But there was one that caught your eye, certainly, with regards to the oldest superhero of them all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to ask you if this was a regular thing, this Superman Treasury. Something we've
You're
seen
not going to like
before
this,
or
Keith.
not?
This is a big book. This is a like this size type book.
This one's 80
Um,
pages, yep.
not in terms of page count. So think of the large books that we have. In store they've been doing
Ah,
reprints of some of the
yeah,
old Neil Adams stuff. So Treasury Edition, Treasury is basically to do with the size of the book. You'll see there
okay.
it carries a $15 price point. That's
Certainly
because it's
does.
going to be that oversized price point. But the creative team here
It
is
is
pretty great.
Dan Jurgens and Nightwing's own Bruno Redondo taking on the Man of Steel and taking him to new heights in this special oversized comic. So this is Superman Treasury 2025 #1. Legends collide as the Man of Steel goes supersized for the summer of Superman. In this all-new Treasury edition, quintessential Superman writer Dan Jurgens pairs with the modern master of sequential art, Bruno Redondo, to craft a larger-than-life story of power, tragedy, action, and above all, hope. When a vicious armada of extraterrestrial extremists launches an all-out invasion of planet Earth, only Superman can stand in the way of total annihilation. But there's something different about this attack. It's deadly from both without and within. It's a tale so titanic we had to tell it in a treasury size to celebrate the summer of Superman in style, featuring images and info from the brand new Superman movie plus special photo variant cover.
Of course, you mentioned there Summer of Superman. Obviously, a lot of the titles are kicking off with new big story arcs, all in conjunction with the Superman movie, which of course will be out in July when a lot of these titles are coming out. So it's nice to see that sort of synchronicity coming from DC with regards to it, and you'll see it certainly in the Marvel book with Fantastic Four as well. I mean, the movies and the live action stuff has not always coincided with the comics. Sometimes they couldn't be further away if they tried. But it's really nice to see both DC and Marvel embracing the big summer releases with books that'll hopefully then get people interested in the comics. But as well as that, Superman 28, you had mentioned there is a new setup for that, with Superman 28 being the start of a crucial new chapter. Superman versus Darkseid's Legion, with Superman 28 written by Joshua Williamson and art by Dan Mora. I see we've lost Keith for a little while there, but he is back. Teething problems, if you will. But there is that beautiful face. You can hear me when I say that. But yeah, no, I was just mentioning there, Superman 28, you're talking about it being the start of a new story arc.
Yeah, so this seems significant. Superman versus Darkseid's Legion, a crucial new chapter in an all-new saga. So this part of the ongoing, obviously number 28, written by Joshua Williamson, art and cover by Dan Mora. It's part of the All In, as everything is. Since the start of All In, Darkseid's Legion has stalked the DC universe, and now that they finally attack Superman. What is in this Legion's deadly mission, and how does it kick off the next phase of All In? Don't miss out on this crucial issue that sets up a massive event for Superman and the DC universe. There you go, massive for Superman and the DC universe.
And the DC universe. But yeah, as I say, it's just great to see them, crossing over with the movies here. So there's literally just a couple of other things just to showcase on the DC side of things. The first one being the All In Justice League Dark Tomorrow special. So this is written by Mark Waid and Mark Guggenheim with art by Kane Torme. So this is a one shot in the wake of the We Are Yesterday crossover epic. A mysterious quantum quorum has emerged, stalked by a lethal enemy that takes no prisoners. The League deputizes a ragtag group of time-displaced heroes like Batman Beyond, Gold Beetle, and Helena Wayne to fill the void left behind by the Time Masters and save the Quorum from the mysterious threat that's picking up time travelers one by one. These Legends of Tomorrow are the only ones standing in the way of this cascading chronal Armageddon, with the past, present, and future teetering on the brink in this oversized special leading to the next big DC All-In event. You must be quite pleased with that when you hear the words Batman and Beyond.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Anything that brings Terry McGinnis back to the forefront, and I'm happy. So I'd be picking up that, especially with Mark Waid attached to it.
Excellent. And then we have a Nightwing 2025 annual written by Dan Waters. Who I was having a chat with someone in the store the other day about Dan Waters, and I think he's going to be like one of the next big things in comics. He's quietly amassing really, really good stuff through
Yeah.
DC and through his independent stuff as well. I mean, Batman Dark Patterns is just, exceptional. But yeah, the annual is written by Dan Waters, who of course is writing the main title, Francesco Francavilla on art. Commissioner Maggie Sawyer digs into the past crimes of the mysterious Olivia Pierce and discovers far more than she bargained for when she uncovers the existence of a strange and terrible entity. What is the Zani? Where does it come from? And what are its true plans for Nightwing? And then just the last thing just to mention in the DC book, because this is something I've been really enjoying in DC in the last sort of year or so, is the DC Compact range and the DC Finest range. So DC Finest is the equivalent of Marvel's Epic Collections. So, printing older stories, putting them all together in reading order, picking out maybe some lesser known stories as well, which is great to see. So they've highlighted here four new DC Finest, which includes some Batman stuff, horror, Hawkman, and the Spectre. The DC stuff for Batman is Red Skies, the Doug Moench pre-Crisis Batman era. You've got Hawkman Wings Across Time, which is Hawkman and Hawkgirl soaring into the pages of DC's finest, going right back to like Brave and the Bold and Mystery in Space, that kind of stuff. The DC horror stuff is told by the likes of Jerry Conway, Marv Wolfman, Len Wein, and then The Spectre as well, written by Gardner Fox, and more. So some really, really good stuff there. The Spectre as well, drawn by Neil Adams and Jim Aparo. And then just the other one to mention again is they also seem to do this as on a monthly basis, this section for DC Finest. So, or sorry, DC Compact. So again, these are smaller editions. They carry that $10 price point, but are complete stories. So you've got Harley Quinn Wild at Heart DC Compact, which is the Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti run. You've got Wonder Woman Blood and Guts, which is the Brian Azzarello Cliff Chiang New 52 run. That's what I'm a big fan of. I think that's a great story. And then one I have to admit, I'm not sure if it'll fit this format personally, but you also can't complain when it's at this prime point. But Arkham Asylum is being put in this. For me, Arkham Asylum, the joy of it is in its art. So you kind of want it blown up and bigger, bigger the better. But again, if it's the convenience of, riding on the bus or going on holiday or whatever, that's what these editions are definitely made for. And yeah, some of Grant Morrison and Dave McKean's finest work right there. So yeah, that is genuinely that is the DC book. It's just one of those ones, guys. Not loads in it, but we will cure your eels of that by taking you straight into the Marvel book and into some lovely, exciting number ones.
Yeah, Marvel is full of number ones and also a load of one shots this month. And we're kicking that off with The relaunch of Fantastic Four under current writer Ryan North and with new series artist Humberto Ramos, who you'll know from a pile of Marvel stuff. There's a load of variant covers, as you might expect. Cliff Chang, Alan Davis, Yi Hong Lee, Yoroma Pena, Mahmoud Asrar has a foil variant, a few other bits, but it's a new era for Marvel's first family. The Fantastic Four return with a new issue one, kicking off a whole new volume of their adventures through time and space, science, and the human condition. When the Fantastic Four take on Doom, things go well until they suddenly go catastrophically wrong. And they're sent to four different eras in Earth's history. Alone and isolated in widely different time periods, Reed, Johnny, Sue, and Ben all have to fight to survive. Their only hope is to reach the Forever Stone, a mass of dense granite that happens to be one of the longest lasting rocks on the planet, which, through a combination of obscurity and raw geological luck, has stayed both intact and accessible for most of Earth's history. Also, in this extra big, extra special issue, Ben Grimm fights a dinosaur. No other comic dares to feature the thing battling several Mapasauruses, but that's just where we get started. So, this is a £5 book, 32 pages. Say, kicking off a new volume of Fantastic Four. Not sure various feelings on that. Obviously, Jed MacKay used it very, very well through the death of Doctor Strange and his Strange books that followed that, and also in Moon Knight. But yeah, I don't know. The Fantastic Four's hitting what, issue 30 now at the minute during One World Under Doom, and
Yeah, aren't
it's
they doing
strange that they're relaunching.
they're
Do you not
doing like a
think?
countdown sort of countdown story arc at the moment, aren't they? Fantastic Four, Fantastic Three, Fantastic Two. Is that to do with the storyline, or is that just counting down to the end of
Yeah,
that volume?
yeah, it's to do with storyline. Where it was established a while ago, years ago actually, that whenever one of the Fantastic Four loses their powers, the others will also lose their powers because they got their
Mm-hmm.
powers together for
Because
whatever
they're
reason.
also
It's
intrinsically linked.
yeah, pretty cool mechanism. So yeah, that's interesting in itself. But with the Fantastic Four being so linked to Doom and One World Under Doom only being halfway through, it seems a really strange time to relaunch Fantastic Four to me. But that's what it is. I mean, and the interior art just looks absolutely phenomenal there.
Yeah,
Double page spread from Humberto Ramos as the Fantastic Four sort of fight Doom and various Doom bots and such. So pretty cool stuff. Staying
I
with the
suppose
Fantastic Four.
just quickly on that, I suppose the idea here is that if people go to see the Fantastic Four movie and they walk into a
Yeah,
comic shop, what they want to see is Fantastic Four number one, as opposed to issue 33. I like the Rad North staying on it. Um, Marvel have successfully kind of done this for the last couple of years. It does create a little bit to long term readers, I think, like ourselves, but it's been very well handled, as you say, in Moon Knight and in Doctor Strange. So with it still being Rand North, it's a artist change. And again, if you're a casual reader and you see the movie and you love the movie,
yeah.
walking
There
into
you
a
go. You've
comic
got
store
a
and seeing a number
yeah.
one's perfect.
I mean, that's fair. There's been criticism of both Marvel and DC that, they don't do that. They don't,
Yeah.
put out a jumping on point for folk who have seen the movie and are interested. And so, and that's definitely the case. And you mentioned the movie, and sticking with Fantastic Four, we have Fantastic Four, and it's the digit four rather than the word four, which
Hmm.
characterizes our Marvel comics Fantastic Four. The movie Fantastic Four have the digit four. So this is Fantastic Four First Steps number one, and this is based on the upcoming film. The cover has that same font for Marvel Studios,
Yeah.
and also has Reed and the various characters depicted as the actors. It's by Matt Fraction with art by Mark Buckingham, cover by Phil Noto there. It looks absolutely fantastic. From the world of the upcoming film, as authorized by the Future Foundation. 4 years ago, the world was transformed as an amazing cosmic bird quartet revealed themselves and their astonishing abilities to the public. Since that time, they've become world famous as the Fantastic Four. Now, to celebrate that anniversary, Marvel Comics recounts their very first exploit when they clashed with the subterranean Mole Man and his underground legions. Matt Fraction and Mark Buckingham bring you all new adventure, marking the moment that all of history changed. So it's interesting to see that cover redone with Pedro Pascal and the cast on it. So yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah, and almost a corner box with the
Yeah,
four Marvel
almost.
heads
Yeah,
there.
almost.
Almost.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's definitely a month for number ones, and this is definitely one that I'm excited for. Would be one of my favorite Marvel characters. It's one of my favorite Marvel slash DC slash indie writers. Great artist on it who I think was a little unfortunate with their last book, which was Gods. I remember at the time them coming in for a little bit of flack because of the price point of issue one, and they had to come out and say like, "Oh, we don't make the pricing, but I promise you, I'm putting my all into this." And Gods was a beautiful looking book. That book is Captain America number one, launching in July as well. So, written by Chip Zdarsky, and the art is by Valerio Schiti. You've got this amazing cover A here, Ben Harvey. You've got some different variant covers being shown here as well from the likes of, Chip Zdarsky doing one himself, of course, a very talented artist. John Romita Jr. doing an artist cover, and also a variant cover by series artist Valerio Schiti. So a new era for Captain America begins here. While Captain America slumbered in ice, the world changed for better and for worse. Steve Rogers awakens to a reality where battles are fought in the shadows through secrets and subterfuge, and villains aren't so easy to identify. When a fledgling dictator named Victor Von Doom conquers Latveria, hold on, this is Captain America, not Fantastic Four. Steve faces a critical decision: adapt to a new kind of warfare or forge his own path. And what will the choice he makes in the past mean for the future? Experience the untold tale, Captain America's first encounter with Doctor Doom, as Chip Zdarsky and Valerio Schiti team up for a game-changing new era of Captain America. So there is some preview interior art in the book as well. It's not been fully colored just yet, but it is looking good. And yeah, I mean, the Captain America, it's been sort of searching a wee bit, I think, for a relaunch after, Sentinel of Liberty and Symbol of Truth, which we both really enjoyed,
Yeah,
done by
yeah.
Colin Kelly. So I
Oh, I mean,
think,
the beginning of JMS's run was pretty good as well. I think it lost its way a wee bit.
yeah, the
Uh,
first arc was fantastic.
yeah,
And then it just went into the realm of magic. And for me, I like my street level Captain America. I don't need him involved in
yeah,
magic. But
absolutely.
again,
And
personal preference.
it's worth mentioning just when we're talking about Captain America that we lost a Captain America legend this morning in
We did,
Jackson Butch
yes.
Guice.
Yeah, I saw
Butch
the news
Guice,
this
who
morning.
was
63, nothing. No age.
yeah, absolutely. A long running acclaimed artist for Marvel and DC, right sort of through from the 80s. Co-created Apocalypse, and his brother-in-law posted saying that he'd passed away after dealing with some recent health struggles. Was heavily involved in Brubaker's Captain
Yeah.
America and the creation of the Winter Soldier. So I mean, can't say too much more, but rest in peace.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, Chip worked with them as well, didn't he? On Always an Invader. I'm pretty
That's
sure it was one
correct.
of the
That's
artists on
correct.
that. And
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
I saw Randy put out a tweet today about it. He's actually stepped away from Twitter. He has like a sort of a media team that does it. But he actually came back on himself today and said, just wanted to share the news on this. I think Butch was doing some art for some upcoming Resurrection Man, the title Ram's writing and releasing at the moment. So
Yeah, fantastic
as you
title. Yeah.
say, RIP is his work will certainly leave a lasting legacy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, away from the Captain America and on to someone who is everywhere at the moment, as you say, and that is Godzilla. Godzilla is in the middle of indie books. Godzilla is coming back in Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong for DC, and Godzilla is about to destroy the Marvel Universe. With a five-issue miniseries here. Just look at that wraparound. Art is glorious by Mark Brooks. So it's going to be five issues. It's written by Jared Dugan, art by Javier Garon. Look out, New York. A previously dormant Godzilla has been angrily awoken and begun carving a path of annihilation as Earth's mightiest heroes band together to try and stop its cataclysmic rampage. But when their combined efforts fail to slow the bringer of destruction, Earth's heroes are forced to go to extraordinary lengths to try and bring Godzilla down, including joining forces with Earth's most devious villains. But will this be enough to stop Godzilla as it tears straight through the Marvel Universe into the Dark Dimension and other realms? Plus, how is the King of the Monsters connected to the mysterious metal vibranium? And what does this mean for Wakanda? In the face of an unstoppable force of nature, the Marvel Universe must come together like never before in this earth shattering fight for Earth's survival. It's all hands on deck in the first of five electrifying chapters in this epic saga.
I think this
Same.
is it's kind of interesting, isn't it? That obviously we're in the middle. We're at the end of the Godzilla versus series, which was
Mm-hmm.
what it was six one-shot throwdowns
Hmm.
Started with Godzilla versus Fantastic Four, and then we had what
Hulk.
Godzilla versus
Hulk
Hulk,
was the
and
second one. Spider-Man came out this week.
yeah. So, and then we've got we're finishing off
I think
in
we've got
July
Avengers to
with
come.
and Thor. And I actually thought that this Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe was kind of the finish of that
Hmm.
series, but it's completely unconnected. This is Jerry Dugan and
Yeah.
Avir Garon, whereas the other is yeah. So very strange way of doing things. Completely, I guess, completely different universes.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, I think it's basically like an Elseworlds tale for, not to confuse
Yeah.
companies. But the last of those one shots, as you say, must be one that you must be looking forward to. Because even though it's Godzilla versus, it's Jason Aaron writing Thor again.
It's Jason Aaron writing Thor with Aaron Cooter and art. Absolutely, that's a really good one. Some great variant covers there from Walt Simonson, Mark Bagley, and various others. But yeah, so that is the finale of the final round of a series of six one-shot throwdowns where Godzilla has, as we mentioned, been taking on various heroes of the Marvel Universe. I've enjoyed all of them so far, despite not being quite as big a Godzilla fan as you. And yeah, so taking on the God of Thunder and a deadly group of assassins known as the Hand have bestowed Godzilla with the power of the Beast. Oh no. Krakoom, Thor must defend Midgard from Godzilla, but at what cost? So that's a 32-page one shot. If it's anywhere near the quality of the ones that have gone before, then it will be excellent.
Excellent. So yeah, that's the Godzilla side of the Marvel book. What about the X side?
Yeah, well, speaking of a giant-sized lizard, the X side of the universe is occupied largely by the giant-size X-Men series. It's a series of one-shots that feature Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. So I think we've gone through her witnessing the formation of the all new, all different X-Men. We've seen her go through the Dark Phoenix saga. She survived the Age of Apocalypse, and this month she is experiencing House of M, as well as the finale giant size X-Men number two. So this has all been shepherded by the Hive Mind, Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing. I usually enjoy their stuff. So yeah, I think there's like five or six different one shots in this series. Bunch of creators. Jed McKay is involved in Giant Size X-Men 2. And as I say, while we haven't seen any of it yet, it looks like Miss Marvel, who has, more recently discovered that she's also a mutant, is trying to understand her mutancy, her status as a mutant through, this trip through time. I don't know if it's something she's chosen or if it's accidental or if it's been forced upon her that she is part of all of these critical events. So we're going through all of these different events, these key events in X-Men history, in these giant 48-page books, and we'll see what comes. I don't know what to expect at all, but yeah, it'll be fun to see those things re-explored. But this is all part of the 50 years of the X-Men celebration. So 70 years of Godzilla, 50 years of the X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to have good talent involved with it, as you say. Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing. There's also Giant Size X-Men being co-written by Jed McKay. You've got Saladin Ahmed
Hmm.
helping out with House of M. You've got great artists on there, such as Adam Kubert, Mark Capullo. So they've certainly put a lot of their best talent on board. So we'll see how it
Yeah,
goes. I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
for some people, the history of it all is sacred, so maybe they don't want to see this, but we'll see.
There's been a fair bit of blowback, particularly on sort of more right leaning sort of pods and the comic community, who generally don't like Ms. Marvel for a raft
Hmm.
of right wing reasons, very often misogynistic and racist. But yeah, they're I guess worried that this is putting Ms. Marvel, a character who they don't necessarily appreciate, right at the center of some of these key events that she'll always be there or always have been there. But I
Hmm.
don't see that being the case. I think she's witnessing them, should be part of them, but she won't be
Almost more as an
changing them.
observer, yeah, I
Yeah,
suppose.
exactly. So it's comics, don't be so precious.
Those other
Um,
ones still exist. Those they all exist
Yeah,
unchanged. Just ignore
I
this.
honestly, yeah, I don't think this, yeah, 100%, 100%. So, another sort of semi-interesting thing sort of happening in July is this Bring On the Bad Guys. It started in June with Bring On the Bad Guys, Doctor Doom. It's been shepherded by Mark Guggenheim, but this month we could Bring On the Bad Guys, Green Goblin, Bring On the Bad Guys, Abomination, and Bring On the Bad Guys, Loki. So. Green Goblin is Guggenheim with Ethan S. Parker and Griffin Sheridan, so the Supple Boys. The Abomination is Guggenheim with Philip Kennedy Johnson, and Loki is Guggenheim with Anthony Oliveira. So it seems to be focusing on the villains. Obviously, there's some great Lee Bromero covers, which I think you'd appreciate.
Yeah.
Green Goblin is one of the most terrifying villains in Marvel Universe, thanks to a deal with Mephisto. But what does the Soul Forge have to do with it? So uh, this Soul Forge thing seems to run through all seven of the villainous one shots. Bring on the Bad Guys was a an older line. You can find it in collected trades, and no doubt in the back of this particular book as well. They'll have been resolicited, where they again focused on bad guys back in the sort of 70s and 80s. So might be interesting. But yeah, seven, and this is part two, three, and four.
Excellent. So the bring on the bad guy stuff there as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
just as we were talking about, different volumes, and Marvel restarting with ones, we've got another one in this very, very book, with Al
yeah,
Ewing and Justin
yeah.
Greenwood finishing off.
I thought Al Ewing was maybe above this sort of trick.
I don't really think they
Um,
have a choice. I don't think it's
yeah,
necessarily their decision.
I think you're right. But this is Immortal Thor number 25, Al Ewing and Justin Greenwood in art. It's been really interesting series up until now. They've had sort of choose your own adventures. They've had Roxanne Presents comics. They've had all sorts of different wee twists on the idea of stories and telling stories. And with issue 25, apparently this story ends. At the end of his tale, Thor strode into Vidblian, third land of the dead, whence nothing could return. And there, beyond all battles, beyond all cares, he stood and fought for justice one last time against the great serpent who wore his own face and held his own hammer. This was the story of the immortal Thor and the deciding of his fate. But you tell me that this is not the end.
Yeah, I've seen reports of them. They're going to be relaunching with the new Thor title. I don't know if it'll carry the immortal name. I don't know if it'll have the unworthy Thor. I don't know if it'll just be Thor. We'll wait and see. But from what I understand, Al Ewing is staying on the character. But
Okay.
just again, it's. I think it's just that constant need for simplicity for casual. I think that's all it is. I think long-term collectors and long-term readers don't care if they're picking up issue 79 of something. They know how the industry works. But if you want to attract new people, Marvel do this, relatively regularly. So I just roll with the punches with it now. As a retailer, it is always easier, certainly, to say to someone, here's a number one,
Mm,
as opposed to here's issue 19. It's the start of a new story arc. And they're like, yeah, but I need the first
yeah.
18. So it can be tricky. So I understand why they do it. It can be a
Yeah.
little annoying, but as a retailer, it's a godsend. See, having number ones on the racks. I mean, I've
Yeah.
started doing this thing in store where I'm starting to put on stickers on ongoing books if it's the start of a new story arc, saying, jumping on point for new readers. That's just something we do. Not every store will do that. Not every store will put the effort into telling you where to start. I don't know. Every store has their own way of doing it. But what's indisputable is a number one. It's just easy to go, here you go, here's a number one,
Mm.
so it's going to continue, Keith. I'm sorry.
Very soon it's going to be every issue will be a number one of a new volume.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be
I remember
Spider-Man
Chip did it.
volume.
I remember I think Chip did it twice in one year with Howard. Was it Howard the Duck? I think they did it twice in one year, but he made a joke of it and he did like six issues and then went a brand new number one. That sort of thing. Speaking of number ones, but back again to one shots, you had certainly mentioned in the intro about Marvel having a lot of one shots. J. Michael Straczynski's been doing a lot of interesting one shots recently. He's been doing Captain America Volstagg, Rocket Raccoon, Doctor Doom, and a few others. Well, this seems to be the
Nick
last of
Fury,
those.
Fin Fang Foom, yeah,
Yeah,
this is the finale of that.
this seems to be the finale, and this is Spider-Man versus the Sinister 16. So, great cover there by Terry Dodson. Phil Noto's on interior arts for this, and J. Michael Straczynski, of course, writing. Spider-Man versus everyone. Peter Parker was just trying to have a nice night out, but wouldn't you know it? that Parker Luck has filled his evening with an assortment of some of the Marvel Universe's most vile villains. J. Michael Straczynski saved the wildest of his Marvel pairings for last, and he brought the legendary Phil Noto with him for this doozy of a story. So, yeah, again, things like that are great. One shots being able to just tell if people are looking to get into characters, it's nice to be able to just hand them a one shot. The Doctor Doom Rocket Raccoon one sold very well because obviously all this excitement around Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom and blah blah blah. So yeah, we one shots are it's almost an old fashioned device. I mean, I was chatting to someone in store about this the other day that like modern comics, there's so many are like it's a 6 issue story arc, it's a 10 issue story arc. Like there's something to be
Mm.
said for just great one shots, picking them up, story beginning, middle, and end. And that's what these JMS ones have been certainly very good at doing.
Yeah, good fun. Good fun. Um, Another one shot. It's X-Men by Chris Claremont, Prelude to a Future Past #1. So this is written by Chris Claremont and John Byrne, venerable legends in the industry. Penciled by Salvador Larroca and John Byrne, again, legends in the industry. The rarest Chris Claremont X-Men tale of all, finally available to the masses, alongside the all-time classic that inspired it. Revisit the nightmarish world of tomorrow that is Days of Future Past in a revelatory prelude that was previously only available in a limited edition hardcover, written by legendary scribe and illustrated by his Extreme X-Men collaborator Salvador Larroca. Discover at last how the surviving X-Men save one of their own, Rachel Summers, from her torment as a hound, and find out which surprising faces had a vital part to play in the mutant resistance. Presented alongside the original saga in which Claremont and John Byrne unveiled their darkly dystopian vision of the future Marvel Universe, where Sentinels stalk the Earth and the X-Men are humanity's only hope until they die. Plus, bonus materials celebrating Chris Claremont's 50 plus years in comics. Reprints Marvel Paragon Collection, Chris Claremont, Uncanny X-Men number 140.5, number 141, and Uncanny X-Men number 142. So that could be interesting for the Claremont fans. Interestingly, we have a page in this previews book, which notes one word under Doom, #6. There's a lovely cover art there of Doom tearing Reed Richards in half, and it says August 2025.
An issue
So
so
that's
big and shocking, you have
yeah,
to wait till August.
to wait until August. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously that has been delayed, but I suppose they've got a nice way of presenting it. Um,
It's interesting when
Another
they
one.
do these. I mean, DC have done this as well many times, but see when they do books that like go across every title, the last thing that should happen is a delay. I mean, you look at this book,
Absolutely.
there's about, 10, 12, 14 titles all linked to one World Under Doom. And, as I
Yep.
say, DC are just as guilty of it. They've done it many times in the past as well. But like that shouldn't happen. Like your main book should
No.
always be ready to go.
Definitely not. Definitely not. But what can you do? What can you do? And
Mhm.
one of those tie-ins, related to a book you mentioned earlier, and another one shot, is God's GODS One World Under Doom #1. It is by Ryan North, who is the writer of One World Under Doom, with art by Francesco Mortorino, and a Valerio Schiti cover, obviously involved with the original series with Jonathan Hickman. Using a combination of science and magic, Doctor Doom has taken over the world, which means Win, solo avatar of the powers that be, think magic god, has an interest in how this happened and how to stop it. His sworn apprentice, Mio de Maria, a college-aged woman disillusioned with most magic, some science, and definitely all of her job working for Win, is brought along and soon finds herself at the center of a crisis that could impact Earth for generations to come. And worst of all, Dr. Victor Von Doom believes Mia has potential, especially if she were to be freed from Win's control. Doom offers freedom, but all gifts from Doom come at a cost, don't they? Science and magic collide in this oversized one shot that brings the world of gods to the heart of the Marvel Universe. And if you don't yet know the world of gods, this is a book for you. It is both accessible and apocalyptic. So, Gods is back, written by Ryan North. Really interested in that.
Yeah, and should you enjoy that, the trade is available of the Jonathan Hickman written Valerio Schiti drawn God series, which was very, very good, I have to say. So another one shot to keep an eye out for is Doomed 2099 #1. So this is written by Frank Pieri with art by Adelio Diaz. I mean, any Doctor Doom content at the moment is a good thing because the casual fan is getting more and more interested in this character. The future is doomed, the world is doomed, but does that include the world that is yet to be? A coalition from the future, including Old Man Logan, Rachel Summers Phoenix, Bishop, Cosmic Ghost Rider, the Maestro, and Deathlock say otherwise. But will the arrival of Doom 2099 change the odds for the new Sorcerer Supreme? Is he there to back his past self or destroy him forever? I mean, you must be a happy guy when you see characters like Bishop being involved in this, but then you go, oh, Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I know, I know. I'm Doom 2099 is a pretty cool character. Obviously
Yeah.
from the original 90s 2099 launch. He's cool to see, but yeah, that could be interesting. Frank Thierry is some pretty cool stuff out there, so we'll see what happens. Another wee nip back into X-Men corner. Obviously, we have gotten used to on Krakoa our annual Hellfire Gala. But if you recall, last year the Hellfire Gala didn't go so well as Orcus launched the attack that was the beginning of the end of the Age of Krakoa. So here now, instead of the Hellfire Gala, we have the Hellfire Vigil. Jed McKay, Gail Simone, Evel Ewing, Alex Packnadell, Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, Jeffrey Thorne, Jason Liu, Marua Iodeli, and Stephanie Phillips are writers and a raft of artists, including Javier Garon, Nito Diaz, Sarah Pacelli, Federico Manchin, Luciano Vecchio, Declan Shalvey, Roy Mercado, and Marcus Toe. Are on this 1 year ago at the final Hellfire Gala, the dream of a unified mutant nation was forever shattered by a cowardly sneak attack by anti-mutant forces. To mark the moment and to proclaim loudly and strongly to all concerned that mutant kind still stands, the time has come for X-Men of all stripes to come together in solidarity and celebration. Written and drawn by the creators of the entire X-Line and featuring the meetings and moments fans have been asking for since From the Ashes began. A keystone moment marking the movement from one era into the next and setting up story threads that will play out across the X-Line for the next year. So that's a 64-page one shot. I think that'll be worth a look if you are an X fan and you enjoy Krakoa and you're enjoying what's happening. So pretty cool to see.
Yeah, again, I've been talking to a few younger readers in store, and we all have this theory that Marvel maybe slightly regret ending Krakoa because Krakoa has now seeped into Fortnite and Marvel Rivals, and all these casual fans are like, "Oh, this Krakoa thing sounds great. Where can I read that?" Oh well, that ended last year. So there's maybe a slight trying to keep it alive a little bit through stuff like this. I think you might see a
Yep.
return to Krakoa at some point, or some version of it at the very least. But yeah, it was just interesting chatting to them
Mm,
because it's infested those sort of mainstream type games that people are asking after it now, which I just find absolutely hilarious. But yeah, away from the single issues of Marvel and into just a couple of trades just to finish off the Marvel book. One that actually passed me by, but Keith pointed it out to me, is the Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 5. Now, this has been a bone of contention for a little while, this one.
no, I mean, to be fair, I pointed this out to you last year and you failed to
No,
believe me.
not that I fail to believe you. It hadn't been announced then. What Marvel did was about 7 or 8 months ago is they
Yeah.
released one called The Death of the Ultimate Spider-Man, which is the end of the Peter Parker side of Ultimate Spider-Man, and it came out as its own separate thing rather than Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 5. And obviously, we're all sticklers for, numbering and, spine design and all that kind of stuff. And because that one covered to the end of Peter Parker, I thought, well, there's not going to be a Volume 5. But a Volume 5 got released nonetheless, or has been announced nonetheless. Now, this is an advanced solicitation, so it is due for November later this year. And it is actually covering Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, not Ultimate Spider-Man, so my point still stands. Still written by Brian Michael Bendis, drawn by the likes of Sarah Pacelli, David LaFuente, Chris Samney, Mark Bagley, Matt Wagner, and way more, too many to mention. Brian Michael Bendis concludes his saga of Ultimate Peter Parker with the shocking death of Spider-Man. Wow, spoilers. So this is going to contain the end of Ultimate Spider-Man 150 to 160, Ultimate Fallout, Ultimate Marvel Team Up 1 to 16, the Ultimate Spider-Man Super Special, and material from Ultimate Fallout 2, 4, and 6. So the thing is, if you have picked up the death of Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus, there is enough different content in this to almost double dip. The death of Peter Parker or death of Ultimate Spider-Man one does have different mini series and stuff like that. So you can pick up both, but I know you'll be picking up Volume 5 because You were definitely a real stickler for that volume
Well,
numbers.
yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, it's finishing off that series of omnibuses. There is a Bagley cover there, so yeah, it's nice to see it. And Stephen and I were both very excited whenever we saw it announced, sort of late last year, early this year, with on near mint condition. Who's very cool at keeping everybody up to date on the Omni side of things. So yeah, that's great. Another one on the collected edition side that I mentioned because I've heard good things about it from a whole lot of different sources, and that's Sabretooth, The Dead Don't Talk. It's a trade paperback written by Frank Thierry. There's that name again, penciled by Michael Stamaria. Sabretooth is dead, but his past is alive and lethal. Journey into the past for a secret chapter of the savage saga of Sabretooth. As a feared gangster and murderer who rose to power amongst the notorious New York gangs in the early 1900s. Victor Creed may be dead, but the secrets of his past and the ways in which they may affect Wolverine in the present are very much alive. The feuding gangs of the Big Apple are as varied and colourful as they are deadly. But the question is, are they as deadly as Mad Dog Murphy, new guy in town? When a lethal player known as Dragonfire makes the leap from the mean streets of Kunlun to the even meaner streets of New York City, it looks like Deep Fried featuring vampire gangster in steampunk armor and a murderous crocodile man on the loose, discover Sabretooth's blood-soaked quest to be the kingpin of the Five Points underworld. Collect Sabretooth, The Dead Don't Talk, numbers 1 to 5. So it sounds good. It sounds right up my street. I missed it in singles, so I think I'll maybe pick that up on trade paperback. It's 120 pages, 5 issues.
Excellent. So, yeah, that is going to conclude the Marvel side of things. As I say, the Marvel book was definitely a lot more jam-packed this month than the DC book. Moving on to the indie stuff. So, as I say, we get this main previews book here, which it seems to be getting thinner and thinner each month. Like when we
Yeah.
first opened the store, DC used to be in this book. Marvel, I think, used to be in this book. Image were in this book, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we actually speculated last month we might not even get another previews book due to all the uncertainty happening with Diamond US and all the rest. But alas, it has arrived, and there's a few good things in here. And then we found the image solicitations, as I say, separately, which was through Bleeding Cool. But the first one, definitely, I would highly recommend. I've been enjoying the single issues of this. It's starting to be released in hardcover and trade paperback collections as well, and that is Space Ghost. Great pulpy stuff. This is a brand new number one, a new volume. This is a running theme, certainly this episode. But it's written by David P. Post. We chatted to David P. Post a little while back on the podcast. You can certainly find it back in the podcast feed. Lovely, lovely guy to chat to. Very passionate about all the books he's working on, and this was like I think he said his dream project. Same artist as the first volume as well, which is Jonathan Lau. So this is basically a new volume, as I say. So the Guardian of the Spaceways returns for more evil thwarting action in an all-new series, kicking off with the first appearance of a classic Space Ghost villain. As Space Ghost and Blip fight to defuse a hostage situation on an amusement park planet that's been hijacked by the villainous Toymaker, Jan and Jace are confronted by a mysterious figure from their past, a meaning that will shake the Ghost Planet's team to the core. Acclaimed author David P. Post and visionary artist Jonathan Lau reunite to reach for the stars in Space Ghost number one. So, yeah, I mean, Dynamite in general has been seeping its way into our pull list more and more with some really good sort of licensed stuff. And that's definitely another one I'd definitely recommend. Moving away from there into Image, as I say, we found the solicitations for Image through Bleeding Cool. So we did find just Google, Image solicitations July 2025. But there's a big, big book solicited, and I'm so excited for this. We have a new criminal book coming. For anybody that doesn't know, Criminal has been going a couple of decades at this point. If you even look at my background here, there's one signed criminal print. There's another signed criminal print over there. This means nothing to you podcast listeners, but if you're watching on YouTube, I'm a huge fan of Criminal Noir series, created by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. There's a TV adaptation coming this August/September on Amazon Prime, the likes of Charlie Hunnam in it and Amelia Clark. And we chatted to Sean Phillips a little bit about it last year at Thought Bubble, and he's really excited. He got to visit the set. A lot of the main action of Criminal takes place in a bar, but you'll then follow creators who leave that or characters who leave that bar. It's a fully living, breathing world of a book, and this is the first new Criminal content in 5 years. So the book itself is The Knives, a criminal book hardcover. as I say, from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. The first new criminal book in 5 years, with the Prime Video adaptation premiering soon. Crime comic grandmasters Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips return to their most acclaimed series with a new standalone graphic novel, The Knives. A sprawling criminal epic, The Knives is the most ambitious tale Brubaker and Phillips have ever tackled. Three dark journeys wind around each other over a decade like sharks hunting for a kill. Cartoonist Jacob Kurtz goes to Hollywood in the era of peak TV to work on an adaptation of his comic strip, only to find himself caught up in the life of his aging aunt and the vultures circling her estate. Angie was raised at the undertow, but now everything she loves has been taken from her. She's on the streets with vengeance on her mind, her eyes set on the city's kingpin. And finally, Tracy Lawless is home from the Special Forces, finally a civilian again, but he's in bad shape, and this city has always brought out the worst in him. These three tales collide in The Knives, a breathtaking noir story about greed, ambition, heartbreak, and blood ties. A must have for all Brubaker and Phillips fans. What's also great to see about this is a lot of their original graphic novels, the likes of Reckless and stuff, have been around the 120, 130 page mark. This is a 200 pager. Bring it on. Very, very
Very
excited
nice.
about this. We may even have some sort of event tied to this when the book releases, but there's more information to come on that down the line. Just throw a little tease there. But yeah, very, very excited. This is probably book of the month for me, like from any of the companies. Really, really excited for it.
Very cool.
So
Yeah. Criminal. I think I've read most of it or all of it. Can't quite remember. Clearly needs another read. Couple of other standouts, I think, from Image. We have the first issue of a three-part series by Jerry Dugan and master artist Jay Lee, and it's called This Ends Tonight, #1 being released in July. The pulse-pounding comic event of the summer aims for your jugular, courtesy of Jay Lee, Inhumans and Seven Sons, and Jerry Dugan, X-Men and Falling in Love in the Path to Hell. This Ends Tonight is the kickoff of three interconnected tales of bloody revenge in Las Vegas. The debut issue stars two sisters hunted by assassins for their shocking family secret. It's an oversized, action-packed romp, and every panel is crushed with love by Jay Lee. This series is completed, and we've got some special guests too. Stay tuned for a beautiful Adam Hughes variant and a sketch edition too. This Ends Tonight. A Thelma and Louise-like duo barreling through classic Quentin Tarantino-esque action, saying all the right things there. Uh, the other one that really grabbed my attention is the Die 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 Deluxe hardcover. You remember Die Die Die, Alan?
Die 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 was an interesting one. It launched as mystery Robert Kirkman title. We couldn't even order it. We were just
Yep.
sent copies to the store based on like what our orders were for Walking Dead Deluxe or something like that. I can't remember, but it was released in an interesting way. Robert Kirkman likes to do these things from time to time and play around with the industry a little bit.
Yeah, so is the Die 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 Deluxe hardcover. Robert Kirkman and Scott M. Gimple are the writers, and Chris Burnham and Nathan Fairburn are the artists. It's 352 pages, coming in at the £50 Image price point. Dive into this killer deluxe hardcover with Powerhouse creators Robert Kirkman, Invincible and The Walking Dead, and Scott M. Gimple, The Walking Dead TV show mastermind, and Chris Burnham, Batman Incorporated. This is an evil world where evil people do evil stuff all the time. Thankfully, there is a secret cabal with the United States government that works outside of our normal system to influence world matters through targeted assassination. Blood will flow, bullets will fly, and the mayhem will never end. Try not to. Die, die, die. Very, very cool.
Yeah, just a really fun, over the top, brutal title. It is one that I think kind of gets forgotten about Kirkman wise because everyone thinks of Walking Dead, they think of Invincible, to a lesser extent they think of Firepower. So it's definitely worth a revisit, and those hardcover formats are great. Move away from there and on to IDW, and two titles for me. I've got an extra one to throw in that's not on our list, so just so you're not
Nice
throwing
work.
too
Nice
much.
work.
But the first one is definitely another anticipated one, which is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring #1. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees is an amazing book, a great serial killer book,
Fantastic. Yep.
told through a totally different lens to what you might expect. And I've ordered in the trades for it. We should have restocks of those in the next week or two. So if you want to play catch up, highly recommend. This is the sequel series. It's written and
Yeah.
drawn by Patrick Horvath. It's been 8 years since a bloodlusting brown bear drove into the city, kidnapped a kind young duck, dissected his body, and burned the pieces in the woods. The duck's family painstakingly sought justice, but this brown bear was smart. She covered her tracks. And in the 80s, there simply wasn't a way for the duck's family to find answers. But it's not the 80s anymore. Almost a decade after Cuddly Brown Bear, Samantha Strong solidified herself as the sole serial killer in Woodbrook. the world is entering a new era. As Samantha will soon find out, there are no secrets in the age of the internet, and those who lost loved ones to her massacre haven't given up the flame of justice. A reckoning is coming to Woodbrook. Join visionary writer and artist Patrick Horvath for one of the most anticipated comics of 2025. Really
That
can't
was,
recommend that book enough. So much
yeah,
fun.
absolutely. Beneath the Trees, the original series was just fantastic. One of the best books of last year. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
And then the other one I just wanted to throw in as well. I mean, we've already talked about a certain giant lizard, but let's talk about him a little bit more. We have Godzilla #1. This is coming in what's called the Kai-Sei era. The Kai-Sei era, IDW's new Godzilla universe, starts here. In 1954, experimentation with a mysterious energy source known as Kai-Sei awakened Godzilla and a host of immortal kaiju. In the years that followed, humanity has been pummeled by near constant monster attacks, while Japan has begun to treat the kaiju like natural disasters, understanding that their attempts to fight the kaiju, their fights to, their attempts to fight Godzilla only make the threat worse. The American G-Force is going to fight, fight, fight. The Americans have just discovered the ultimate tool in the fight against kaiju. A young boy named Jason with the power of Godzilla, able to harness the mysterious Kaisei in the same vein as the King of the Monsters. This boy will either save the world or bring about its doom. So yeah, they seem to be setting up this whole new Link Godzilla universe. It's under that banner of Kaisei era. There's another book which is called Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone. Again, another #1 which will be launching in July as well. So plenty around for you Godzilla fans out there.
And I've got one for the Star Trek fans. Obviously, IDW has the Star Trek license, and have been doing great things with Kelly and Lansing and Christopher Cantwell over the past couple or 3 years with Star Trek and Star Trek Defiant. Now, those books have both come to an end after Lower War. And in July, we're going to see the first of a 5-issue miniseries by Christopher Cantwell, who was the writer on Star Trek Defiant, and Megan Levins, who was an artist on Star Trek, called Star Trek Red Shirts. So this is the start of an all-new, heart-rending Star Trek 5-issue miniseries by writer Christopher Cantwell and artist Megan Levins, featuring Starfleet's most intrepid and doomed crew members. Red Shirts. Now, Alan, I know you're not a Trek fan, but the general trope
Oh,
is
I
that
know
if
what a
you
red shirt is.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Led by an experienced officer embedded in the snow-ridden planet of Arconia 89, the crew of the USS Warren has a small window in which to pin down spies, seeking to steal classified secrets and keep Starfleet data out of the nefarious hands. They face threats not only from their faceless enemies, but from the brutalizing elements and wildlife of a planet far from home. The Red Shirts' lives and Starfleet's sanctity are on the line, and no one is safe. So that'll be interesting. Nice to see a different side to Star Trek than we have seen of late.
Excellent. And then just one last one from me, and we're jumping over to Dark Horse for that, and that is Nemesis Forever #1. So this is continuing on the Mark Miller created Nemesis series. Nemesis, to give you the elevator pitch for it, it's what if Batman decided to use all of his training, wealth, and resources to be a master criminal instead of a superhero. So yeah, Nemesis Forever, written by Mark Miller. Art on this one is Mario Scalera, a great artist. Can't recommend highly enough. Nemesis is the world's most dangerous man, and now he's made himself into one of the richest. No longer content to just terrorize the forces of law and order, his new plan is to wreak havoc on his enemies and seize control of the world itself and enslave humanity with super technology. Great cover on it with the lights of the city saying, I'm back, and Nemesis overlooking the city. Really fun title. It's about as deep as a puddle, but it's just so much fun and just really bombastic. So I'll look forward to that series there. So that is me finished. I believe you've one or two to finish up with.
Yeah, one book and one novel that I know you'll be really interested in. So the comic is from Boom Studios. It's called The War #1, and whenever a comic's called The War, who do you think's the writer on that?
I'll hazard a guess. He was in store for a signing recently.
That'll be Garth. Yep. So yeah, it's Garth Ennis is the writer with art and cover art by Becky Cloonan. Garth Ennis and Becky Cloonan unite to explore the modern fear of nuclear war and societal collapse in this dark and timely thriller. In New York City, a group of friends watch their fears become reality as they face the immediate threat of nuclear war. Everyone has a different plan for survival at the end of the world. Who will live? Who will die? This oversized first issue collects uh, parts 1 to 3 of The War, which was originally published in Hello Darkness #1 to 3. Now, Hello Darkness is that uh,
Like a horror anthology series.
horror anthology series, yeah, which is now at issue 12. So that'll be interesting. Garth Ennis exploring current and futuristic war rather than historical war.
Hmm.
I would
Yeah,
say
well,
so.
as you say, man loves war.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and yeah, maybe it's timely. So from Random House Worlds, I have a novel. It's called Batman Resurrections. It's a soft cover. By Sherry Renee Thomas. Batman and Gotham City face a mysterious new threat in the direct sequel to Tim Burton's iconic Batman. The Joker is dead but not forgotten. Gotham City is saved, but it is still not safe. By night, new symbol of hope. Batman continues to fight to protect the innocent and the powerless. By day, his alter ego Bruce Wayne wonders whether there may someday be a future beyond skulking the city's rooftops or the cavernous halls of his stately manor alongside the ever dutiful Alfred Pennyworth. But even after death, the Clown Prince of Crime's imprint can be seen in more than just the pavement. Remnants from the Joker's gang are leading wannabes fascinated by his bizarre mystique on a campaign of arson that threatens the city, even as it serves greedy opportunists, including millionaire Max Schreck. The survivors of exposure to the Joker's chemical weapons of Smilex continue to crowd Gotham City's main hospital. Batman finds the forces of evil growing ever more organized and orchestrated by a sinister hand behind the scenes. The world's greatest detective must solve the greatest mystery of all. Could the Joker somehow have survived, and could he still have the last laugh against the people of Gotham City? So there you are, 432 pages for those fans of Tim Burton's Batman movies. And that is that.
432 pages that I will never read. Imagine starting a blurb off with the direct sequel to Batman. Is that not Batman Returns? Anyway, yeah, Tim Burton movies, not for me. Everyone's heard these rants in store and on podcasts. I'm not going to jump into it here, but terrible, terrible movies.
Damn it,
Yeah.
couldn't even be baited. Couldn't even be baited.
No, I just can't do it. If you ever want to hear my famous opinions or infamous opinions on the Tim Burton Batman movie, you know where the story is, guys, and it's not easy to trigger me. So, but yeah,
What
we'll leave
is
it there.
the final order cutoff
So, final
for
order cutoff
July's
for
books?
these books is the 23rd of May. So, we've got this out nice and early. Got a good few weeks to get those orders in. Obviously, those are just the titles we're looking forward to. These books are always in store. You can pop in, look through them at your own leisure. You can look online, find them, email us any changes to pull list and so forth. Whatever suits you guys. We just like to get this information out there and try and keep you as up to date as possible with regards to the new stuff. So, as I say, it's not a bad thing. It looks like a slightly quieter month for me, and I would venture a guess slightly quieter month for you.
Yes,
So,
absolutely, absolutely.
but anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this. As I say,
And
we'll play around with the video format, so this might change over the next few pods. We'll see, but
yeah,
this
bear
is
with us and bear with any changes in audio quality on the podcast while we get everything lined up and sorted out.
But as I said to Keith when we were talking about bringing on this format, this podcast has survived COVID. It survived us both buying a house. It survived children. It survived all weddings. It survived all sorts. We will keep plowing on. But yeah, just bear with us over the next little while. There might be a few wee changes here and there, as I say. But cheers as always to Keith for taking the time out. I am going to skedaddle, go get some dinner. I think you have a night of gaming ahead of you.
That's
So
right.
I will possibly see you tomorrow. By the time
Yeah.
this
Oh,
goes
I'll be
out,
in tomorrow. Yeah.
by the time this goes out, this will already pass, but it's free comic book day tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to a nice busy day in store and seeing lots of faces. So until next time, guys, as I say, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.